Alright, let's try this again. So, I had to take a screenshot of this because it wouldn't let me record on this screen for some reason. But I looked, well, first off, I'm driving this truck and it doesn't have very good reception on the radio. So I checked out Sirius and it's got one channel, and that's the Taylor Swift channel, which I like Taylor Swift. I mean, I'm not like her number one fan or anything like that, but I've always liked her ever since she did country music and converted over to pop or whatever you want to call it. Most of her stuff is pretty good. I like it. Now, there's an argument whether or not she's a hardcore, diehard feminist or not. I never really paid that close attention to her. I just like her music. But, you know, I'm not a Taylor Swift freak or anything like that, but I'm not a Taylor Swift hater. I'm just kind of neutral. Like I said, I like her music. But, if she's a feminist, then yeah, that might make me less of a fan because she's influencing other women to be evil. But this song pretty much sums it up right here. This is a lot of relationships. You know, basically saying, you know, find out what you want. I'll be that girl for a month, and then I turn into a monster, is basically what she's saying. They're fake, they're phony up front to get what they want, and then they become evil. And that is a problem. Are there guys who do that? Yes. But I think when it comes down to the majority, I would say the majority of women do this, not guys. That being said, there's a lot of guys who don't even get the opportunity to go through this because I'd say 60% of men are, I wouldn't say obsolete, but 60% of men are obsolete in the eyes of women. Because if you're not in the top 40% of men in everything, you're out, you know. There's some things that guys can hide and pretend like they're in the top 60 or top 40%, but and get lucky, you know, get a relationship, whatever. But for the most part, most women, I'd say 60% of women, 80% of women are looking for the top 40% of men. Now, a lot of people will say that's wrong, that they're looking for the top 20 or the top 10%, which is also true. They would love to have the top 10 or 20%. But generally speaking, they generally get with the top 40% of men. Most women will go for the top 40% of men. They say 50% of men have checked out, not even interested in dating, not even interested in a relationship, not even interested in pursuing women anyways. Well, that's because that 50% women aren't really that interested in, you know, or they have been interested in and burned them. And there's still some of the men in the lower 60% that are still trying. I'm probably right there on the cusp of the 60%. I used to be probably in the top 40, but at the very bottom of the top 40, and or I'm at the very top of the bottom 60. I'm somewhere in there. I'm definitely not a Chad. I'm definitely not in the top 10 or 20%. But if I'm in the top 40, it's just barely. So I feel the pain on both sides, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I've had a number of relationships. I'd have a lot more children now if I weren't a member of the Clip Club. You know, in high school, I dated a lot of women. So I was a catch back then. However, the internet wasn't out back then either. And they say these datelines have ruined women and relationships, because since the datelines, women have, I wouldn't say more options, because they really have less options, because they're all fighting for the same top 20, 30, 40%. So before, you know, you just had your circle, and so the top 10 or 20% of guys were already nabbed up in junior high or high school. And yeah, they may have dated half the women in school, but by the end of high school, most of the good guys, or most of the good looking guys, or most of the guys that women perceived as a catch, were taken. And women dated more on their level because they didn't have the internet to go look for, you know, guys outside their circle. And vice versa. So now that we have the internet, it makes dating and relationships a lot harder, because now we've expanded our options to the whole wide world. And of course, you also have these catfish out there who play with our heartstrings and our wallets. So you got to watch out for that. But yeah, this sums it up. Like I said, I'm just trying to make it short. So we're already at 8 minutes. So I'm going to leave you with that. And this is why a lot of men are no longer interested in dating women. Just remember that. You know, you guys sing to this song. Probably 90% of you sing to this song, have all of these lyrics memorized, but yet you wonder where all the good men are. You wonder what the problem is. This is the problem. This is the problem.